My fingers are so cold.
Oh no.
They're so cold. They're so cold.
Allergies make lousy parachutes.
So that's a different look for you guys here in the Lone Wolfer garage. That is a 2004 Aprilia Futura RST 1000. This is a project bike that kind of got dumped in my lap from a family member, and it now runs again, and it mostly stops. Does not have rear brakes right at the moment. Still working on that. Also doesn't have a speedometer because I had to kind of do a, you know, fast and hard fix to the rear hub with the bearings, and I couldn't actually find the replacement bearing because they don't make it anymore. But yeah, here goes our inaugural ride on the 2004 Aprilia Futura RST 1000. Because I don't have a speedometer on this here Aprilia Futura, I'm actually following my friend Carly, who is also my chase truck in a way. Oh yeah, I'm hitting the rear brake, but nothing is happening because it doesn't work right now. I have tried to bleed it every which way I know how. I think I'm actually gonna have to take the whole thing off and check the master cylinder. I think it might be either gummed up or just straight up foobarred. Wow, it is cold here in the New England. This is a chilly ride. I'm doing this on a Saturday morning after we just did an oil change on my cousin Carly's Jeep Liberty, and yeah, just trying to get this from my shop warehouse to my home garage, as all the work that I can do at the shop has been done, and now I need to have this to tinker with in the deep dark nights of New England, as tomorrow is daylight savings time. We are falling back, and it's gonna be dark, it's gonna be cold, and I'm gonna have a lot more time in my hands that cannot be filled with riding, so it'll be filled with tinkering with this bike. Luckily, these front brakes work real well. Maybe a little too well. Oh, we're just gonna go right through with Carly. So I think my plan is I'm going to put a phone mount on the handlebars here with a program like Waze or something else that has a speedometer in it. And that'll be how I know how fast I'm going. Mind you, I'm pretty sure I'm doing like 35 right now. After years of driving and riding motorcycles, you just kind of get a sense of how fast you're moving. This is a very, very different riding position from what I am accustomed to on motorcycles at my disposal. Yes, I have ridden many crotch rockets. I actually learned how to ride on a leader bike, a 2007 Yamaha R1. Well, I don't want to say learned, but reacquainted myself with the road, because I had ridden dirt bikes when I was a young lad in the 1980s and 90s. But yeah, I'd never really done a whole ton of road riding, and yeah, had a friend who had dropped his R1, and he was like, hey, just take this and use it. I don't care. There's not a whole lot of engine braking on this thing. Italian engineering at its finest. Can you hear the sarcasm in my voice? Can you taste the sarcasm from my voice? I am not a fan of how this bike was designed. Everything about it is kind of a nightmare. The bearing in the back hub actually isn't in the wheel itself as most motorcycle wheel bearings are. This one was a big giant king bearing that had a little magnetic piece that a pickup for the speedometer read off of. That bearing is no longer made. They basically just said, we're not making new parts for that bike, and no aftermarket parts are available. Well, there are aftermarket parts, but they're few and far between. And as you can see, it's missing a left-hand mirror. What I have at home for a replacement are actually mirrors off of a Vespa. I believe Aprilia and Vespa are owned by the same person, or same company, or one of them owns the other. I don't know. But yeah, I've got Vespa mirrors at home that are going to be going on this thing. They look very similar to these mirrors. They have the same plugs. They're just black. I think they'll look fine. This thing is very aggressive. I don't like that it doesn't tell me which directional I have on. It just says that they are on. That is silly. Definitely gonna have to adjust this here clutch, as it is very difficult to shift. There's a definitive sweet spot. And this past 5 minutes is not enough for me to know where it is. Yeah, it took me a long time to get that bearing out, and after months of trying to source one, I gave up and went a different route of trying to find out if putting two bearings that were half as wide together to fill the space would work. And the consensus was it will work, but you won't have a speedometer, and you're probably going to want to inspect them every few thousand miles, because now it's got new tires, new front brakes, rear brake will be working in the next week or so, because now that I'm going to have it at home, I won't dilly-dally on that. That's one of the things about keeping stuff at your shop. You know, yeah, it's accessible, yeah, there's room, yeah, there's tools, but I don't work in a mechanic shop. I work in a shop that makes buttons and stickers and posters and banners and stuff like that, promotional materials. And you know, when I'm done working, I like to leave. I don't want to stay. And staying to work on this here motorcycle has been an issue. Staying longer, you know, when you're there, people also ask you to do stuff. They're like, oh, can you do this, print this, blah blah blah, and I just get annoyed and I don't want to do it. This thing is so weird. I don't know what gear I'm supposed to be in. Oh, this is different modes of riding. Oh, my blinkers are still on. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. I hate non-self-canceling frickin' blinkers. I'm so spoiled having Harleys that all have self-canceling blinkers. It's just a silly thing not to have on a bike. Keep going for that rear brake. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. It's useless. My fingers are so cold. I don't have my real gloves. I just have these thick leather work gloves. They're just not doing a damn thing to keep my hands warm at all. This bike has not been home in like a year. How does it feel, motorcycle, to have your homecoming? Alright, that's gonna be it. About to pull in my driveway. Test ride went a-okay. I'm not dead. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. And if you are following me on Instagram or not, I'm hashtagging everything fuck it's fall, and there'll be a picture of this motorcycle on there. And I hope you guys are having a great one. And if you like it, give it a big thumbs up. If you don't, keep on walking. And if you haven't subscribed, Do it. Rock on.